part 2 of the Land Between the Lakes series on all things overlanding. Today you're going to see everything from deep water crossings to super deep mud to hyperventilating bison on the road blocking our path to super tricky off-camber stuff that honestly had me a little bit sketched out. So stay tuned for all of that and more. All Things Overlanding is brought to you by Red Arc, Power Management Solutions, Rugged Bound Supply Company, rooftop tents, awnings, roof racks, and more. Overland Addict, premium overland gear. Last US Bag, overlanding bags and equipment. Northology Overland, trips and a monthly overlanding magazine. All of these companies are really amazing, so I highly recommend you click through the links in the description below to learn more about each of them. After a great night of camping on Kentucky Lake, we made our way back out through the 300 road that we'd come in on the night before to find our campsite. Of course, as we approached the big mud hole where I'd had to winch Cody and his LX450 out the day before, he said, "Give me one more shot." Go, go, go! Nice! So making our way out on Forest Service Road 318, we had a lot of fun. It was still sort of muddy. There were some deep sort of water crossings. There were a bunch of roots and things to kind of bounce over. So nothing super challenging, but again, just an interesting, fun ride that kind of just kept mixing things up to kind of keep us entertained. So lots and lots of fun. Alright guys, so it is day 2, Saturday in LBL. Yesterday was awesome. Tons and tons of really cool stuff. And so today we left out through the 300 road we'd come in on. It was awesome going back out. We knew where the obstacles were and how deep they were and stuff. So no winching today, no getting stuck because we knew those. But now we are traveling. We're going to go up a big hill here. We are traveling on a 100 road to get back out of the woods to this sort of main road that runs through LBL, and then we are going to take that down further south in LBL, and we are going to hit up some more 300, and it looks like, I'm not sure if there are 400 roads for real or not. They seem to be on the Gaia map but not on the Google Maps, so at least some more 300 roads. It's also starting to rain a little bit, so that could make things interesting, so we'll see. As we continued down the main sort of central road through LBL, we came across a sign for elk and bison prairie. Now, there were some other funny signs in this area that kind of cracked us up, but we decided to take a shot at this and just see what it was like. And for the first 10 or so minutes, we didn't see anything, and we were kind of disappointed until we got a little ways in and we came across a bunch of stopped traffic. Now, you'll notice here that there are literally probably 15-20 bison laying around in the road, walking across the road, and it flat out says on the signs, do not get close to these bison, do not approach them, they could attack you or your car. So, of course, Cody said, I'm gonna go anyways, and he started to go around some of these people, and as we pulled up, it got pretty interesting as they started to sort of charge out into the road, and you'll see just how close we got here in a second. bison preserve inland between the lakes, and there's an entire herd of bison on the road. So we are gonna try and maneuver our way around them now and hope they don't ram my truck. Excuse me. Excuse me, guys. Pardon me. Hello, sir. I love you. We're friends. Please don't ram me. Look at them all. Oh God, why'd you stop? This is not a great place to stop. Oh, look at the baby. God, they look so hot. Bison preserve is $5 to get into, but it's definitely worth it. This is really cool. Buddy, it's okay. After we left the elk and bison preserve, we headed out and hit some 300 roads, and we immediately had a really fun experience with a really deep mud hole. Amazingly, the 80 series LX450 was able to back out of this hole. And once he was back out of it, he decided, you know what, I'm going to try it again, which ended up being a big mistake. So we pulled the winch line out, got it hooked up to the back of the Lexus, and we pulled him out. He did have to pop down his rear tailgate and climb out onto it inches above the water because it was that deep, and reached down underneath and got that all attached. And then because he'd hit the water so hard, he had actually shaken something loose electrically, so the car had shut off. And of course, if you know better, you don't want to turn a car back on when it's in water because it can suck water up and hydrolock the engine. So we left the vehicle off, and I had to dead pull it out of the hole. Then once we got it out, he checked a couple of fuses and it started right back up. So once we got it restarted, we hit the bypass to get around this giant puddle because, you know, after the truck shut off, we didn't want to risk any more potential issues with it. And that was when we came across probably one of the most challenging obstacles of this entire road. To kind of give you an idea of this obstacle, I wanted to start with a fixed camera on the back of the Lexus as it went down this really super off-camber ravine, and then we're going to jump into kind of the full footage of the Xterra tackling the same thing. Once the X was down and in that ravine on the traction boards, I felt a little bit better. I was maybe a couple inches from rubbing the entire driver's side down that dirt/rock wall. But overall, the truck performed really well. After that, there was just a little bit of straddling, some other deep stuff, and that was pretty much the end of it. So again, challenging enough that it got pretty sketchy and made me worry about damaging the truck, but still super, super fun, right? I mean, it could just be gravel roads and be boring, but instead we hit this awesome 300 road with tons of cool stuff on it and had a great time. Alright guys, so as you can see, I am back now finally from the LBL, or Land Between the Lakes trip. I made multiple parts to this video, so just wanted to kind of give you guys a quick walk around of the truck now that I'm back home, to sort of show you some of the damage that I picked up on the trail. So we did hit some pretty challenging stuff on this trip, and I feel like a lot of people don't really go into sort of what happens to your vehicle. So if you are going to take some of those really challenging trails, rocky things, off-camber stuff, even mud sometimes can cause some damage. If your suspension travels fully and if you've got poke like I do from the wheels and tires, then there's a chance that your fenders are going to take some hits. So just wanted to kind of share some of the damage with you guys so you might get a kick out of it. Alright, so let's start around on the passenger side rear quarter panel. If you're familiar with Xterras at all, they're really solid trucks. I've loved this thing. This is a 2005, so it is 16 years old. I've had it for the last 4 years, about 45,000 miles, and driven it all over the place. West Virginia, Kentucky, the Upper Peninsula, the very Upper Peninsula. Took it out to the Moore Expo in Missouri earlier this year. So, I mean, it's been just a perfect truck. It maintains temperature all the time. It starts up every single time. It's just super reliable and just been a perfect, great truck, especially considering the abuse that it's been through. But so on this last trip, again, my wheel and tire setup is super ultra aggressive, and I've got spacers on here, and then I've got pretty aggressive offset wheels and tires. Actually, they're zero offset, but they are just naturally, because of the width of the tire, they're 285s. They're wide, and it looks cool, and I like how it looks. I like the little bit of poke. But when you get fully flexed and compressed and stuff, it's gonna impact things. So back here, as you can see, my rusty quarter panel. I am not a body man in any sense of the word, but I had tried to Bondo this, and you can see I impacted pretty hard, and it actually cracked the quarter panel. So that's kind of fun. That's going to be a fun one to try and fix. But I'm learning all the time on this truck, and it's not like it's ever going to win any car shows or anything like that. But it's teaching me. I've never done Bondo, and now I've done a little bit, so that's kind of cool. So now we move around to the front here, and I don't know how well this is going to transmit on video, but I've kind of inadvertently wide-bodied the passenger side fender here, and it actually grabbed and pulled down on the bottom of the fender liner. So I think what I'm going to do is probably try and pinch that up underneath of it a little bit so I don't have any sharp edges, and then maybe just kind of smooth it out. I'll probably just leave it a little bit bowed like that, but just try and make it not look like it was from an accident and make it look like it's intentional, because I'm kind of wide-bodied over here too. The driver's side front is also pushing out quite a bit, and it hit hard enough that it actually put a big old crease, a big old crack in the paint there. So that's fun. That's another fun one. Again, this is kind of my argument, right, for why an older truck versus a newer one. I normally on my car, so I have a car that I have my Infiniti Q50, which I really love. But that thing's always clean, and it's always in the garage when I'm not running it. And if I had gotten damage on that, I'd be really mad. But on the truck, I'm just kind of well, that sucks. What am I going to do? Wide body the truck, push it out with a bottle jack or something, and call it a day. So I need to clean it up a little bit. I mean, I don't really detail it up. I will take the pressure washer to it just to get all the mud and stuff out, because it gets really caked up down in the wheel wells and stuff in here, as you can see. I want to make sure that the wheels are cleaned out, because sometimes with all this mud and stuff stuck to the inside of it, you can get a little out of balance and give you some vibrations and things like that, which isn't great. But so I'm gonna get it cleaned up. Got a tiny bit of rust there, but that's been there forever. Gonna get it cleaned up. Gonna try and make some repairs for that stuff, but mechanically it was fine. I mean, you can very obviously tell that it was just damage done by the trails. But so be expecting that. If you've not been on, semi-challenging trails before, and you have a bunch of off-camber stuff where you're stuffing tires, then you could very easily get some damage if you're in a mostly stock vehicle with a little bit of lift. So anyways, just wanted to kind of give you guys a quick walk around of the aftermath of the LBL trip. So thanks again for watching, and we'll see you next time.